Hope I don't screw it up.
It's on.
Love it. Okay, hey everybody. We're so glad that you've all joined us tonight. We have some really great guys ready to share their stories with you because Plexus is not just for us chicks. So just really quick, I'm going to read our legal disclaimer to you. This presentation is brought to you by independent Plexus ambassadors and not sponsored by Plexus Worldwide. Plexus Worldwide wants you to know that the statements that you're about to hear and the stories that you're about to hear have not been evaluated by the FDA, and the results that you're about to hear vary from person to person, and we do not claim to cure, treat, or prevent disease. Also, Plexus makes no guarantees or projections of income, as such representations may be misleading. Your success depends on your effort, commitment, skill, and leadership abilities, and how effectively you exercise those qualities. Please see the Plexus annual income disclosure statement for more info. So now let's just jump into this really quick. First up, we have Mr. Joel Greist from Tyler, Texas. His wife Eloise is my Plexus soul sister and is a senior gold ambassador with Plexus Worldwide. They have 3 little boys under the age of 5. I know their life's kind of crazy. Joel is a finance director and CPA, and he has recently gone back to school full time. So Joel has been taking the products for about a year now, and he was super skeptical about Plexus when it came into their lives. So Joel, go ahead and tell us a little more about it.
All right. Yes. So as Sarah said, me and my wife, well, she's been doing it a little longer than I have. She forced me on the products a month or 2 later after she started. And when she started at first, I don't know that, on a scale of 0 to 10 on skepticism, I was probably at a 10 plus or, even higher. So it took me a while. I think I actually made my wife cry because I sat her down like a wise, good husband and said, "What are you doing?" And thought I was, doing the right thing. But in the end, I support Eloise in whatever she thinks is good, and things that I know, and I trust her. And so in the end, it turned out that it happened to be a very good thing for our family. First of all, because for a long time she had been tired and sick with just random things going on. And when she started taking the products, I don't know how long into it, maybe a month or a month and a half into it, I started to notice a difference in her. She had more energy. She had a spring in her step, and she was feeling better. And then, as a finance director, I have a master's in business administration, and I'm a CPA, and so honestly, money talks to me, at least. And so one thing that, besides seeing her really benefit from it, something that really made me become okay with what we were doing is that very quickly the return on investment was almost instant. So because there's basically no investment to begin with, it's $35 to get started. So yeah, and that's what really, I was just really impressed at how quickly Eloise started to actually bring in income. There's a lot, she says many times, I used to ask her all the time when she's going to go back to work, because when we had kids, she went home, and I would ask her a lot once we started having kids when she's going back. But I don't ask her that anymore because she has really done a great job of building a team and being an ambassador for Plexus. So I am very proud of her, and yeah, I'm a true believer.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
That's right, Joel.
Yeah. So next we have Mr. John Mocker. He is a biomedical technician. He lives in Tyler, Texas, with his wife, Christy, who is a silver ambassador, and their son, Cooper. And he enjoys hunting, fishing, video games, and shooting. And he recently became an ambassador himself, but previously he was a major skeptic. So, John, go ahead and tell us about your story. Oh, you just have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay. My wife started about a year and a half ago, and she started taking the products, and I saw her mood change. She wasn't sleepy anymore. She had energy after work, and I was like, well, maybe this stuff works. So then I started taking the probiotics for, gut reasons. And then my heartburn stopped after a few weeks. I got off, the Prilosec. And then I was like, well, all right, you can do this if it pays some bills, And then I was like, are you making some money yet? She's like, little, a bill here, bill there. And then after a few months, she was able to pay for, speech, for my kids' speech lessons, pay some house notes. And then, last 2 weeks ago or so, we got the free trip to Dallas for that leaders retreat. And I was like, man, this is nice. And I was like, I might as well start trying to make some money too. Since I'm on my phone all the time, I might as well make some money. You're on the phone, might as well post some stuff, see what you get. And that's where I am.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. All right. So up next we have Mr. Richard Carey. He's our next skeptical husband. He's now a silver ambassador with Plexus. And he is a marriage and parenting pastor in Dallas, Texas, who has a lot of experience in those areas because he has a teenage daughter who's gorgeous, by the way. And he has a 2-year-old son and a brand new baby named Rhett. And he is married to Miss Erin Carey. She is a senior Ruby ambassador and one step away from earning her Plexus Lexus. So that's super exciting. And he has had incredible health results, and the business is treating their family pretty darn good too. So how about you tell us about it a little bit?
Yeah, so it was actually my idea because Erin was about 6 months after she had our 2-year-old Roman. She was complaining of like, hey, I just don't feel energetic. Like, I need to lose some weight, and just I'm not fitting in my clothes still. And so actually saw a friend of mine posting about it and was like, hey, have you heard about this Plexus stuff? And she was like, no, what is it? And so I told her what it was, and she was like, well, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, hold on, let's talk about that for a second. And so well, I went to start talking about costs, and I just said, hey, listen, if you're going to do this thing, that's fine, but we can't afford to pay for products every month, so you're going to make your money back pretty fast. And so she went for it. We've never paid for a product. The first month she made her money back plus some, and then things just kind of started progressing from there. And that was June, July, Erin, and 2014. And I still just kind of was sitting on the sidelines like, all right, whatever, we'll see how this goes. And so around October, I was complaining about being tired, and she's like, you should really try this slim stuff. I also had found out that my cholesterol was higher than normal. It wasn't like anything crazy bad, but just elevated. And the doctor was like, hey, you've got to, do something. I'm like, I eat healthy, I work out, like, I don't know what to do. So I started taking the products as well. Started with the triplex and then added other stuff in later on. And so I actually gained a little weight at first. And so I know that's kind of typical, that can happen. And about 3 months into me taking it, things just totally shifted, where I was doing my normal workout routines. Nothing really changed diet-wise, but the weight just started kind of falling off, and I lost around 20 pounds in about 4 months. And financially, things are kind of crazy. We just started seeing just an increase every month from her team growing, from her sales growing. And so we actually were able to start paying off her car note early. We were able to make some upgrades in our home. We've been on vacations. Like John said, Plexus has paid for 3 trips now for us to go out of town, one to Washington, D.C., one to Vegas, and then one here last weekend. And kind of the craziest part of our whole story to me is that whenever we found out we were pregnant, Erin really started having a desire to stay home. And because of what she's able to earn with Plexus, she's able to quit her job teaching this past year and now stays home with our boys every day. So it's been pretty amazing.
That's awesome. So exciting. I'm glad you get to stay home with your babies and don't have to worry about going to work and having somebody else raise them. That's awesome. So next up is Mike Tassa, this handsome fella right next to me. He is a man's man. He lives to hunt and fish and camp. He loves beer and long walks on the beach. Okay, not long walks on the beach, only if he's fishing. He's looking forward to ice fishing if Minnesota ever gets cold, because that's where we're from. We live up here in Minnesota, don't you know? And he works as a CNC machinist, and he's been taking Plexus for about 16 months. He is currently still my customer, but plans to upgrade to an ambassador very soon. And Mike, go ahead and tell us about your Plexus journey so far.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to jump right into it. Basically, the reasons why I wanted to do it was the rut I was in. I had no energy through the entire day. I was just kind of going through the motions. No energy for my kids when I got home. Kind of felt useless that way. I was crabby. Sarah and the boys kind of had to walk around on eggshells to not try and poke the bear, basically. And another reason is my mother-in-law recommended it, and
he actually likes his mother-in-law.
I actually do. And what was not to lose, honestly. After I've been on it for a while, I noticed the sustained energy during the day, all the way to the end, all the way up until I put my kids to bed. It was great. It was the best feeling in the world. Another thing is that it made me regular, which was a huge issue. Because of hunting and fishing day trips, I would have to almost cut it short, or I would have to run to an island type of deal, to do it. So no more doing that. I know when I gotta go, and no more worrying about where the bathroom is gonna be. No more spike in blood sugar. That was a huge thing for me. I used to get lightheaded, hangry, sick feeling, and dizziness. That is completely gone away from me. That's huge. Let's see.
No more shakes.
Yeah, no more shakes. And my favorite is my attitude. My attitude has completely turned 180 degrees. I'm a better person for it, husband, father, and a friend. I used to not really care for people a whole lot, and now I can stand them. So
Yay, Plexus.
It's helped me actually in my fishing career. Helped me go outside of my comfort zone, and I actually contacted a few fishing companies to become pro staff to help fund my addictions of hunting and fishing. Sarah's involvement, when she first got in on the products, I noticed right away that she had not as moody. She knew that that she was losing weight, and that she would no longer go down on a bag of Oreos in a night. That was the big thing, because she was a candy addict. Another thing that I noticed too is that her attitude and able to sleep through the night, which was getting good sleep, and that was huge for us, especially trying to raise 3 young boys. Right now, Sarah has been able to quit her job. Yes, she goes in 2 days a week, but that's just basically to interact with adults, she says. Let's see here. Where am I?
Right here.
Oh, the business side, the financial freedom, working less hours, which creates less stress for us. It's paid for numerous trips for us, numerous trips for me on the hunting and fishing side. I've been to out west hunting, fishing. Been to Canada multiple times fishing. It's paid for our family fish house camper, which has, in return, given us a passion that I can share with all three of my boys and my wife, which I grew up doing. And also, just in the overall financial freedom is unbelievable. It's flat out made me a believer, and I can't say enough good things about it. I was blown away. You know, I was dreaded the pyramid scheme, you know, blah, 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 on that kind of stuff. And there's just no overhead in this. Absolutely no overhead. And there's no reason not to do it, honestly. It's huge. So.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, babe. We had a little guy wake up. Imagine that. All right, so next up we have Zach Heron. He's daddy to 2 girls and a boy, and he's married to Miss Amber Heron, who's a Ruby ambassador with Plexus. And he is a licensed professional counselor and a brand new Plexus ambassador living in Tyler, Texas. He loves sports, mountain biking, hunting and fishing, and he was a skeptical sugar addict pre-Plexus. So go ahead and tell us about how that has all changed for you, Zach.
I think, as you said, I was a skeptic, and on a scale of 1 to 10, they asked, 10 being the worst. I was probably an 8. I grew up in the era where Amway was around, so I remember people coming around with pyramid schemes. And so when Amber said her best friend, Aaron Carey was, from junior high was, getting her signed up on this thing, I was kind of a skeptic. I didn't know what to think of it. She's kind of like, well, it's going to cost us, this much money. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. But after looking at it and kind of like what the other guy said, within a couple of months, she was already paying for her own product. And of course, that's when, like all the other guys said, that's when I started getting interested. And I was like, oh man, so not only is it helping her, and what I started noticing in her as well is she started before, she would take naps in the afternoon. Obviously, we have 3 kids, so that'd wear us out, and that drives us both crazy. But now our mood's a lot better because of that. It just seems to help overall. So as she was starting to work the business, as she was starting to get, some people that were supportive for her, I really saw, 1, that she was serious about it, and then 2, just the health benefits that it did for our family. And just like everybody else had said, it was, we started seeing, for me, I'm a sugar addict, so I started seeing my sugar cravings going down. So that kind of made me a skeptic, or kind of broke my skepticism. Starting to realize, that, kind of like Mike was saying, becoming more regular, all that kind of stuff, really helped in so many ways. And as Sarah said, I am a licensed professional counselor. And so I was thinking, wow, that's pretty interesting, because what the Plexus was claiming is that it was affected gut health was affecting, our neurotransmitters and all that kind of stuff, which is huge in mood. And that's why, it's big to have a healthy gut. And so I started doing research on it, and I actually did a talk for Eloise and Amber at one of their meetings with Christy as well, who's a nutritionist, and just reading and studying up on the effects of health, a healthy gut on our mood. So, of course, being a scientist mind, I decided, okay, I'm going to do a control study. And so I went off the ProBio and BioCleanse for 2 or 3 weeks, just to see, if it really was working. And I noticed a huge drop in my mood. And I kind of have suffered with depression to some degree for most of my life. And I noticed a huge change in it. So I was like, wow, that's awesome that it actually, as soon as I got back on it, I saw my mood get better. I saw, again, going back to cravings and all that kind of stuff, they weren't there anymore. And so it really helped. As far as the financial side, Amber has just rocked it, and she has the team under her that have just rocked it. And so I'm a private business owner, and so for me, taking vacations, doing anything where I was out of the office was very stressful. And so Amber she became a Ruby ambassador. And even prior to that, got to the point where it took the pressure off of me to be the sole provider. And so now we can go on vacations. And my staff actually told me this summer, they're like, you need to stop going on so many vacations because you're never here in the office. And I was like, well, it's, thanks to Plexus, because I was able to do that very comfortably. And kind of like Mike was saying, and other guys were saying, it helps help my kids do the things that I love, like going to the beach and going to the mountains. And wow, it's a great opportunity. So just like the other guy said, just like John said, I just signed up to become an ambassador myself. So I'm excited about, telling people. I do tell clients about it already who are dealing with depression, anxiety, and encourage them to try it, and see how it helps affect their mood. But like I said, it's the whole going back to the Amway thing. This, after Amber started explaining to me and after I started seeing it, there's so many ways that you can be compensated in so many ways that it is not your typical MLM. We have family friends that work for other MLMs, and Plex is just there's so many ways. There's 11 ways you can get paid. And even last night, Amber's like, wow, I just got some money into my account, and I barely did anything. So to me, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely, I'm a believer. And like I said, I drank the Kool-Aid, and now I'm an ambassador. So that's my take on it.
That's awesome. I can totally relate to the Amway thing. My parents were in Amway, and I said I would never do a multi-level marketing anything growing up. And here I am, rocking Plexus, loving Plexus, but it is nothing like what my parents were stuck in with another MLM. So I love it. All right, last but not least here, we have Mr. Nick Cornwell. Oop, shut that. Sorry. Sorry. Okay, Mr. Nick Cornwell, he is a science teacher, he is a coach, and he is almost silver ambassador with Plexus. So that's super exciting. He lives up in Brewer, Maine. He is daddy to 2 sweet little girls and is married to the beautiful Megan Cornwell, gold ambassador with Plexus. And he loves sports, especially golf, and enjoys shooting. I know that since he started the products back in January, he's seen a lot of great things. So go ahead and tell us more about that.
All right. Can you hear me? We good? Uh-oh, you need to get the charger. Sorry, charger battery's going down. So, but basically, when Meg started early on, I was definitely skeptical about the business and just even spending money on different products. But after a few months, I noticed a huge difference in her behavior, just her overall attitude, and just feeling in life. And that I mean, when we moved up here, originally from Texas, and we moved up here, and her dad had passed away kind of before that, and it's just a kind of a dark season in our life, and just kind of wondering if we would ever get that, kind of that joy back in the first days of our marriage. And when she started taking this, I noticed, like, first of all, her attitude, and just she would stay up later. We'd watch shows, and normally she would fall asleep, and then she was up and watching it with me, which was awesome. And just she had more energy around the house, and just so that first of all made me think, okay, there might be something to this. And so I started taking the probiotic, and then started taking the Slim, and like Richard said, I started noticing difference in myself. So since probably March, I've dropped about 20 pounds personally. And being a kind of former athlete, like, being in shape and, presenting yourself well was important to me. And I had noticed, like, in pictures and stuff, I had the big gut, the beer belly, if you will, and just like looked at that, and I was like, what is going on? And so just being able to look at myself now, and being, two sizes down. About I was at 36, and now I'm going back to about a 33. So it's like a huge change in myself, which has been encouraging to me. And so that alone was worth paying the price for the products. And then she started sharing on Facebook, and then she started getting her products paid for, and then started making money and, passing what she makes, part-time as a school counselor. And it's just like, all right, there is definitely something to this compensation plan. Because personally, I had been in other MLM stuff, and I had, probably 5 times as many customers as she did, but she was raking in these big checks, and I was making, nothing compared to that. So it's just like, all right, I want to do this. I want to do this with you, because I feel like me and you could do it, well together. And it's been fun, so far as, working at it together. So I don't know. That personally, that's been the big thing right now, is just being able to do it together, and to form a business together, and to meet all you wonderful people. And so it's a really good experience for us both. So
Sweet. That's awesome. I think that's another big piece of the puzzle too, is just making amazing friends, like lifelong friends and connections with people that are all over the country. So that's been fun. Are there any questions in the chat? I can't see that. I don't know. Eloise, are you there? Are there any questions that anybody has typed out? Or if you do have questions, there should be a chat area that you can type in, and you should be able to see your question if you type one in. Oh, anybody?
There aren't currently any questions that we should
Not any questions?
Oh, there's somebody.
There we go.
Can you read that? Okay, is there a place to go to get research information on health benefits? It's a really good question.
Well, anywhere. So be careful when you Google, because there's some people that like to put some not nice things out there, and they pay to be the first thing that pops up when you Google Plexus or pink drink or things like that. But I personally, my mom's a certified natural health professional, and she dug into each product individually, and she looked at every ingredient. So she researched each ingredient in the products first. She actually researched everything for 6 months before she even introduced it to us. Also, when I got pregnant and my sister got pregnant, my mom still was very okay with those ingredients, and so was my OB, and so was my midwife. So I guess, does anybody have anything to throw in there about, yeah, Richard, go.
Yeah, so I wouldn't Google Plexus reviews, because like Sarah said, there's some people that are just bashing it to bash it. But I would Google things like brain-gut connection. You're going to find all kinds of stuff, even from Psychology Today, that's going to have good information about the connection between your brain and your gut, just even serotonin levels, and how it can, if your gut is healthy, how it can decrease both anxiety and depression. And so I would do those kinds of searches as opposed to searching for just Plexus reviews.
Yeah. And then also there's a website that maybe, Eloise, you can copy and paste. It is, I can read it off really quick. It's www.ncbi.nlm.nih/pubmed. So you could try that for some more info about ingredients. That is from Christy. She is our nutritionist on the team. That's John's lovely wife. But yeah, I guess just researching the ingredients individually, and then checking out gut health, the importance of that. You could type in one of your ailments. So go ahead and type, I'm sorry, dietitian, sorry. And she also does, she specifically works with diabetes, correct? Yeah, she's a diabetic counselor. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
He's a registered dietitian and a certified educator.
Diabetes educator. Thank you.
CDE.
Perfect.
and registered dietitian.
Awesome. Thank you.
She knows her stuff.
That website's from her. Yeah. And then, so just researching those ingredients and then looking up your specific ailment and gut health, or your specific ailment and blood sugar balance. Or you can even look up importance of balanced blood sugar, or importance of insulin levels being balanced and things like that. So if anybody has anything else they can add, feel free. Or if there's more questions, let us know.
Can I?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Go.
on that topic, like doing research for my science classes, I posted something the other day about just adding more oxygen to your body, because your cells need the oxygen not only to to provide energy for yourself, but for your cells, at the molecular level. So the BioCleanse is one of those things that does that and adds the oxygen to your body. So that, that alone increases your energy level throughout the day.
Yep. And also there's another book, my mom, who's the certified natural health professional, and she's a biofeedback specialist as well. She swears by the book, The Brain Maker. It's kind of our new family Bible. It talks about the connection between the gut and the brain. And it's kind of a tough read. You have to go through it page by page because it is written by a doctor, and there's a lot of information on each page, but the research in it will blow you away. It's called The Brain Maker by Dr. Perlmutter. So you can look it up on Amazon. Any more questions? Anybody? Bueller? All right, doesn't look like there's any more questions. All right, so thank you so much for being a part of this with us, you guys. We did really awesome on time. I am proud of these dudes. Usually when it's us girls talking, we go on way late into the night. So these guys are straight to the point. I like it. So if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and write them in the comments under this video. You can PM or message any of us. We are more than happy to answer your questions. So we all could talk about Plexus forever. So, all right, good night. See ya.